All right. Well, welcome. It's odd being back at the studio here, especially without all of you here. Let me mute everybody. Didn't do that part. So you might have to give me a moment to, not the COVID, promise. I know every time I cough or sneeze, I think everyone around me is going to freak out. It's him. He's got the COVID. But it's an odd experience being in this space on a yoga mat. And we've been here a little bit, but ready to teach without a room full of people or anybody. Doesn't have to be full, but people. And I always teach that we need to, as we first sit, as you sit, you need to acknowledge what is here now. So that's just me out loud acknowledging what is here now. So for when things come up in class and I'm a little off, one, you'll know why. But if you begin to understand that, right, people begin, and people won't be doing this, but if people could begin just having the freedom to say out loud what they feel, our relationships with them would be different because we would know what they're feeling and know why they're doing what they're doing. So as you're used to seeing me in the front of the room, solid, holding space, maybe, hopefully, and it's a little different now, and I'm being open and honest about it. When you look at others that might be acting in a way that you don't think is right, or maybe it's a little odd for you, it's an interesting question to ask yourself, what are they feeling right now that they are unable to share? There's a sound coming from over here that I'm just going to turn off. Maybe that'll make the sound a little bit better. I don't know if it's coming out. Hopefully that will turn off in a minute. All right. Looks like we lost somebody already. It's okay. Today's a different day. So welcome yourself and whatever you're feeling into this present moment. Oh, or maybe that was someone that came on. It's hard to see on Zoom. Someone leave, they move all the windows whenever anyone joins or leaves. Welcome yourself into this present moment, whatever you're feeling. And you don't have to be feeling what I'm feeling. I'm feeling a rise of emotions just being in this space and being in this space with you on screens. But what are you feeling? There's a lot that's been going on, certainly these past months, but especially this past week and this weekend. Can you welcome it? Not seeking to bring about immediately that peaceful place that yoga often brings us. We'll get there. But welcoming what is here now. In welcoming what is here now, that's an essential part of moving into that peaceful space. And then give yourself permission to drop your awareness into your body. Begin to experience your body. Bringing your awareness to your sit bones, notice the balance. Which sit bone has more weight, more pressure on it? And can you delicately adjust so that there is an even balance on the sits bones? Noticing what you need to adjust to achieve that. Noticing if you achieve it or become close to it, and not with a judgment, oh, I did it or I didn't, but just a noticing of what's possible now. Lengthen the inner thighs, from the inner thigh to the inner knee, but also from the upper inner thighs towards the lower abdomen. So that whole area from the inner knee to the lower abdomen, the entire groin is lengthening. Descend the flesh of the inner thighs from the front of the leg towards the back of the leg. And draw the outer knees to the outer hips, compact the hips together without gripping in the inner legs. When I can really compact the hips together, when I can draw the femur bones into the hip sockets, I begin to get that even balance of the sit bones. I can't really achieve it without doing that. And to be clear, we talk about working evenly on the two sides of the body, but what we're really looking for is an evenness on the two sides of the body. So for me, and without mirroring, so this is my right side here, while your eyes are closed. If you're looking, you can look for a second. This is my right side. I have to really work my right side, my right femur bone, into my hip socket more than my left to get a sense of evenness. So how do you need to work differently to get a sense of evenness? We work unevenly to become even. And then I feel that reflect in my inner groin, so now I have to lengthen those again and release them. Well, now I have to do my best to maintain that. So I have to keep some awareness in my legs. Can you keep some awareness in the legs to keep what you've achieved now? And in the pelvis and in sit bones area. And find a lengthening through the side ribs. Remember that that doesn't mean just throw the front bottom ribs forward. But the front bottom ribs draw into the body so that you can find an increased lengthening from the hips to your armpits. Lengthen through each and every set of side ribs. The space between the sets of side ribs becoming long, without leaning the shoulders back. Allow your shoulder bones to move down and away from the sides of your neck and lengthen from your inner armpits to your inner elbow. It's a subtle action. But can you energetically lengthen from your inner armpit to your inner elbow? The inner elbow becoming heavy, drawing the shoulders away from the sides of your neck. And then keeping your elbows where they are, bring your palms together. Touch your palms evenly. Notice as you bring your palms together, does one palm begin to press and the other not? And can you adjust so that the palms touch evenly, right to left, left to right? And as you spread the palms, spread the fingers, lengthen the fingers, widen the fingers, so as many cells as possible are touching each other. As much surface area of your fingers, the palm, are touching each other. And there are dips and things like that, so it's not, the entire palm doesn't touch. But can you get as much openness in the palms, get as much surface area as possible touching. And then touching evenly left to right, right to left. And some of you will notice an immediate reflection between the shoulder blades. And some of you will notice, if you really get all that, that your face softens on its own. And if you find yourself grimacing in the face, you know you're overworking somewhere. So where do you need to work less? How can you allow your face to soften? Noticing the breath. The breath may have a different experience than it did before we made these adjustments. The lengthening, the releasing of the groins changes what happens in the diaphragm, which changes the experience of the breath. Of course, the lengthening of the side ribs makes the torso longer. There's also a widening of the torso. So on your inhalation, lengthen the torso, become longer. On the exhalation, widen the torso, become broader. And let's chant the syllable Om 3 times together. Exhaling completely. Deep inhalation. Om. Lifting your sternum towards the ceiling, your chest towards the ceiling, lower your chin towards your heart. Release your hands onto your thighs with your palms up. With your eyes closed, raise your hand. And gently lay your eyelids. All right. I should have said before some props in case anybody new is here. I think everybody has been here before, but in case anyone's watching the archive. So I'm at the studio. I have a yoga chair. You can use your dining room chair as well. I have a strap. You can use a scarf or any sort of belt. I'm not going to be using the what do you call this? Buckle. So have something. We're going to start with this. And I have a couple of blocks. You can use books, okay? So if you don't have those, I'm not 100% sure where we'll go with everything, but that's what I normally have at home when I practice. I just get that stuff out. It's just always nearby. And of course, I have a few blankets that I'm sitting on here. Let's start standing. Have your strap or strap substitute nearby because I need to open up my shoulders, armpits, because there's too much stuff that's feeling stuck right now. So we're all going to do it. So just take hold of your strap and have it in your hands in kind of a pseudo Tadasana because you're holding something. You wouldn't be holding anything in Tadasana. But with your feet either together or apart. And don't worry about the arms now. Just hold on to that. Just hold on to your strap. Just feel the balance of your feet and notice which foot has more weight on it. And I want to bring your awareness to 3 particular parts of each foot. The balls of the big toe, the center heel, and the outer foot bone. 2, 1 on each foot. So the balls of the big toes, the center heels, the outer foot bones. And if anything I say doesn't make sense, if that's not clear, you unmute yourself, you ask. And I want you to balance evenly, not just on the 2 feet, but on those 6 points, right? 3 points on each foot. And we don't really get that. So if you're not getting that, you're not alone. You get 4 points, 5 points. Oh, you get maybe a glimpse, and then you begin to feel like you're wobbling back and forth. And then beyond just balancing on those points, I want you to press into each of those points, but press evenly. So that means you can't press, for me, it's the ball of the big toe. So when I press into the ball of the big toes. So I can't do that, because if I do that, then there's no real pressure on the heels of the outer foot bones. So can you find an even pushing down in each of those 6 points? And again, it won't be really even. Let's see what you can find there. Now press the thigh bones back. Do ensure, don't worry about the strap yet or your arms, but do ensure your shoulders are over your hips, that you're not leaning forward or back. Press the thigh bones back. Lengthen the groins from the inner knees to the lower abdomen. Draw from the outer knees to the outer hips and compact the hips together. Now, interestingly enough, and it's that same hip, when I can work this right side, so I have to work unevenly to become even, because my left femur bone enjoys being in my left hip socket. My right femur bone, for some reason, doesn't enjoy that quite as much, but I know that it's necessary. So I really have to draw from my right outer knee to outer hip to even that out. So what do you need to adjust and change for you? How do you need to work unevenly to be more even? And what's interesting is when I do that, when I can engage the side that doesn't want to do the work, I am more able to balance evenly on those points. It's still, you know, it's not there. It's still kind of wobbly. That's okay. But it's more there, because obviously if this hip sticks out, then it all moves to the left foot. So I have to draw this hip in, both hips, drawing closer towards each other. Now we'll change the experience potentially of your feet. So now, just like when we were sitting, we have to keep our awareness on our legs. Lengthen through the side ribs. From the hips to the bottom ribs to the ones above that, to the ones above that, lengthen it. Not just pushing the front bottom ribs forward. Can you keep the front bottom ribs moving towards the back body as you lengthen through the sides? And then, yeah, you can take your hands a little bit wide. The hands are in front of you, I get that. But move your shoulders down and extend from the inner armpit out through the inner arm. Now we're going to take the arms overhead, but I don't want your legs to move. I don't want your hips to move. I don't even want your torso to move. It's just the arms and the shoulder joint. Have the strap, take the arms overhead. I don't think you can really see me now. So I'm going to get here so you can really see what I'm doing. And most of you, at least that are seeing this live, have done this with me before. Oh, good morning, Radhika. I didn't see you before. And Sandy, welcome. And both, don't, like we've been working the past weeks, don't do your hardest. Don't hold on to this for dear life. If you can see my hand, I just have this gently between my thumb and first finger. I'm not even doing this, though you can hold in a fist. That's fine, but don't grip it tight. Now, extend it up and pull away from each other. But, you know, sometimes I say break the strap. Don't try and break the strap today. Just try and make it longer. And from the armpit, extend outward and then widen the hand. You're not really moving the hands, but you're seeking to widen the hands. And not in the strongest way you've ever done it. That's not today. I think for many of us, that hard practice is not what's beneficial right now. Doesn't mean it's never beneficial, but we're in a different time right now. Open those armpits. Now allow the strap to fall behind you. If you have to bend your elbows, take your hands wider apart and then take the strap in front of you. I do this as much as I can, this pose. Sometimes I wake up, it's the first thing I do. Just opening the armpits and getting the shoulders moving. Sometimes if I don't have time to do anything else in that moment, I just do this. It can be so beneficial. And then the next time, as you're going back, not as you're going up, but as you're going back, stop a little bit behind you at that point that feels most open. Resist just throwing the front ribs forward. And by the way, you see me on my knees here. You don't have to stand up to do this. You're into Tadasana, and that's good, and that's nice. But if you're just looking to work the arms, you can do it watching TV. And open those armpits. They so easily get closed and locked, and we just close ourselves off from the world. We need to open ourselves up to what's going on in the world today, even the uncomfortable. I should say especially the uncomfortable. Then let your hands fall behind you. Just have them come up in front of you. And then put the strap to the side. Tadasana. Now maintain the outer knees to the outer hips, compact the hips together. Push through those 6 points of your feet, right? 3 on each foot, the balls of the big toes, center heels, outer foot bones. Take your arms out to the sides. Watch if the front ribs go forward, or watch when the front ribs go forward and draw them in. From the armpits, turn your arms up. Drop the shoulders down from your armpits, push your arms up. Notice the freedom there. Hopefully, a little freedom. Often we'll do this first and then we'll open the shoulders, but honestly, I just had to go for opening the shoulders first. But can you have freedom in those armpits? Keep the front bottom ribs in. The back bottom ribs move in and up. But keep those front bottom ribs moving back. In any amount, take the arms back to open the armpits. It's not about the arms going back, it's about opening the armpits any amount more. And turn your hands out to the sides and exhale, come down. Now the arms can turn in different ways. So take the arms out to the sides first. Rotate the arms out. Inhale, take the arms out. Now turn the palms forward. I'll come down so you can see me. So palms forward and extend up. Our traditional pose is palms face each other, but turn the palms forward and notice the difference in the torso, the difference in the breath. Now you're not going to take the arms down, but turn your hands out to the sides. So it means that the upper arm is actually turning in, right? We normally say turn your upper arm out, turn it in. Yeah. And just notice changes in the breath, changes in the torso. And turn your palms back to face each other, notice. For me, there's all this space in the side ribs. The breath is flowing up through the sides now. And for fun, now you turn those upper arms out, the triceps towards the nose, face the hands as far back as you can. Right? Mine aren't really parallel to that wall, but I'm working on it. And for me, the breath enters the back when I do that. So try it again. Palms forward. For me, breath enters the front body. What is it for you? Palms facing out. I'm feeling it in the upper side ribs, not as much down here. But what is it for you? I'm not sharing what I'm feeling so you feel the same thing. I'm sharing it so that you can learn to examine your body and your experience. Turn the palms to face each other. So this, for me, I get the whole area of the side begins to open up. What is it for you? And palms facing back. Try and keep the arms straight as the palms face back. Take them further apart if you need. See, my hands are further apart. They're not here. That closes me off. They're further apart. And turn your hands out to the side. Come down. Tadasana. Check in with yourself. Take your right elbow on top of your left elbow. Yes, we're going to open up at least my shoulders, hopefully yours. Cross your forearms. Touch your palms. Take your upper arms parallel to the floor. Take your forearms perpendicular to the floor and rotate your wrists so the knife edge of your hand faces forward. And broaden across the top of the back. Again, keep those front bottom ribs towards the back body. And release. Check in, allow the breath to breathe you for a breath. Right? Sometimes we say take a breath, but I think it's a different experience. And it talks about this for a short bit in the Yoga Sutras about the breath breathing you. Let the breath breathe you for a breath or two. And then the other side, left elbow on top of right. Cross the forearms and touch the palms. Still press through the feet, so it's still outer knees to outer hips, compact the hips. Lengthen the inner groins. Press the thighs back and push into those 6 points of the feet evenly. And then take your upper arms parallel to the floor, forearms perpendicular to the floor, and rotate your wrists so the knife edge of your hand faces forward. And release. One more time, right over left, cross the forearms. Press through the feet, get your legs first, then upper arms parallel to the floor, forearms perpendicular to the floor, rotate the wrists so the knife edge faces forward. Now it can be helpful here to bring the elbows closer together. So that moves both up and down. So the top elbow moves to the bottom elbow moves towards the top elbow. But also then left to right, right to left. So towards the midline. But I always have to caution here because some of you are just going to go to your maximum. Let me jam them into each other. Not today. Squeeze them towards each other, but not to your maximum. And release. Prashant, because Iyengar's son, has been talking about this idea of optimal versus maximum. So can you find an optimal way to work in the pose, which can possibly be maximum, but often is not maximum? Other side, left over right, cross the forearms, touch the palms. Get the legs first. Compact the hips, lengthen the groins, ensure that you're pressing through those 6 points of the feet. Really, we start with the base, press through the 6 points of the feet, but for me, I get that more if I can compact the hips together. So I'm starting with that mid area. Compact the hips so that I can press to the feet, and then adjusting the arms. Forearms parallel to the floor, upper arms parallel to the floor, forearms perpendicular to the floor, rotate the wrist. And then squeezing the elbows, top to bottom, bottom to top, but also towards each other, towards the midline where they're meeting, but not to maximum, to optimal. So enough so you can begin to experience the difference, so that you can even release and do it again and just experience. What is the difference? Why did Jonathan say that? And release. Now here, we're going to do that one more time, just in a moment. But I want you to experience here in Tadasana. First, yes, get the legs. Press to the feet, thighs back, lengthen the groins. Also, the flesh of the inner thighs moving back, outer knees to outer hips. But now here in Tadasana, I want you to lengthen from the inner armpit out through the inner elbow. It goes through the rest of the arm. But can you make that area between the armpit and the inner elbow longer? It's an energy, even though I can see on the screen, I'm not seeing a big movement there. And at the same time, draw from the outer elbow to the shoulder. So just as we draw from the outer knees to the outer hips, draw from the outer elbow to the shoulder. So inner armpit, out to the inner elbow, outer elbow back to the shoulder. And I want you to remember what this experience feels like. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, now is the time to unmute yourself and say, Jonathan, I have no idea what you're talking about. All right, right over left, cross the floor. Press to the feet. Upper arms parallel to the floor, forearms perpendicular to the floor. Rotate the wrists so the knife edge points forward. The elbows move towards each other, not to maximum, optimal amount. Now, can you lengthen from the inner armpits to the inner elbows? Without pushing the ribs forward, the torso is going to want to do the work. Oh, you want an extension out towards the elbows? Let's bring the rest of the body with it. The hips, the ribs. No. Thighs back, ribs in. Lengthen from the inner armpit to the inner elbow. Draw from the outer elbows to the shoulder bones, or to the shoulder sockets, I should say. Let the breath enter the top of the back. And release. And again, it's not about the action, it's about the effects of the action. And maybe you didn't notice any change, but if you did notice, what changed? What was different about that? Left elbow on top of right, cross the forearms, touch the forearm. Ribs in, thighs back. Compact the hips, press to the feet. Elbows up, forearms out. Rotate the wrists. Squeeze the elbows an optimal amount. Elbows into each other. An optimal amount. Lengthen from your inner armpits to your inner elbows. What's the effects of that? Draw from your outer elbows to your shoulder sockets. What's the effect of that? And release. Arms out to the sides. Don't do this from the hands. From your armpits, rotate the arms up. Go as far as you can just from the armpits. Don't get all the way with the armpits. So then, yes, turn your wrists so the hands are up. But armpits first. Ribs into the body. From your armpits, push your arms up. The hands only follow. So you're not taking the hands up. They just happen to go up because you're pushing your arms up from the armpits. And then just notice if this feels any different. Then palms forward. Allow the breath to breathe you for a breath. Palms facing out, not to take the hands down, but observing. And then palms facing each other. Don't bend the elbows to do it. Palms facing back. There, the breath went into the back, for me anyway. And then turn your hands out to the sides. All right. Well, my shoulders are feeling better now. Now it's time for hips. And a little balancing. In a chaotic world, balancing can help you become more focused. And yes, you know, you've seen when I'm teaching at home, I don't have that wall behind me. I have a wall behind me now. If you have a wall behind you, you can use a wall. If you don't, you know, I kind of worked it out at home. And if you fall, I know we all can't hear you, but I hope and pray that you speak out loud. What do we do when we fall? Just say it out loud even though no one else is hearing you. Yes, celebrate. Take your hands on your hips. Bend your legs. Take your left leg over your right leg, and you want to hook. See, I have to work on that too. You have to hook that foot around your calf, and you may not get it. It may not fully hook. Lift the chest. And if you need a wall, go back here to the wall. Oh, there we go. Yeah, you can. It's easier if you just lean your fingers against the wall than lean your whole body against the wall. So take your fingers against the wall and go down. And then instead of doing this one with the chest, just lift a little bit. And if your fingers are against the wall, you just let go for a second. If you fall, it's right there. Or you fall and celebrate. And unhook and come back up. So here's the thing, just watch for a second as I do the other side. If you keep this leg relatively straight, there's no way to get the hook. Now, if you can't get the hook, you can't get the hook. It's not the end of the world. It's okay. But you do have to bend down. I'm just going to use the wall as I show you. You do have to bend down to get that leg over, right? So don't be afraid to sink into it. I have a fairly bent leg right now, okay? So either fingers against the wall if you have a wall. Otherwise, hands on hips. Bend the legs. Really bend them so you have a shot at it. And then take the right over left now. Look, see, I needed that wall too. And hook. And then see if you can, they're not going to really go fully square, but try not to just turn to the side. Okay, be somewhat facing forward. It helps to release those groins. So right here, can you lengthen the groins underneath the lower abdomen, descend them from the front of the leg to the back of the leg. And yes, compact those hips together. Chai, if you bend that front leg more, you'll be able to, the standing leg more, you'll be able to hook your, there you go. Yeah, that's it. And then undo and come up. So again, if you want to go back to a wall, if you're not having any balance and you have a wall available, just you can also have your side to the wall depending what your setup at home might be. Let's try it one more time. Bend the legs. Left over right. Now once you're here, for me it's easier to get in with hands. If you feel you want to, because we will bring arms in a moment, not yet. We'll do this just the legs now. But you can also then release your hands and just lean against the wall and feel your legs. Lengthen the groins. Descend the groins. Outer knees to outer hips, compact the hips. When I do that work of the groins and the hips, I get all this breath into my chest. And then if you are leaning against the wall, maybe you just try for a second to come away from the wall. And then release. Other side. Bend. Use the wall if you need. Nothing wrong with that. Right over left. Hook. Descend the groins. Lengthen the groins. Compact the hips. Right? Because as soon as I get that release, there's more length of the groins. As soon as I compact the hips, it forces my torso, which is falling into the pelvis, it pushes it up and away, and there's more space for the breath. No. Okay, now we're going to put it together. Bend your legs. Left over right. If you need the wall, use the wall. If you want to keep leaning against the wall, you just want to take it easy, lean against the wall, you have the legs, fine. Lengthen the groins, descend the groins, compact the hips. And then right arm over left arm. Use the wall here for a moment. There you go. Right, the wall, if you really want to be here while the wall can help. But it's good just to check. Do I have my balance here? Can I be here? And then whatever level of arm work you can do before, the elbow squeeze, the lengthening of the armpits to the elbows. And then when you're ready, come out. Undo your arms, undo your legs. I should add, in balancing poses, it helps to stare at a point, right? If you're talking, if your head is wandering, it's harder to focus. So pick a point and just stare at that point. Hands on hips. Left leg is a standing leg, right over left. Lengthen the groins, extend the groins, compact the hips. When you have that, then the arms. Left elbow on top of right. And then adjust, just the arms, elbows up, elbows towards each other, extending from the inner armpit, the inner elbow, outer elbow to shoulders. And release the arms, release the legs. Check in with yourself. Tadasana. All right, let's see how all that hip, shoulder work affects some of the standing poses. Fingertips up. Bend your legs, jump or step your feet wide. We'll teach you Trikonasana, triangle pose. Drop the shoulders. Same extension, inner armpit out through the arm, outer elbow to the shoulders. Legs too. Lengthen inner knees, inner groins, outer knees to outer hips. Left foot in, right leg up. Take your front heel in line with your back arch. Press the outer rim of your back heel. Turn the front thigh from the inside out. Outer knees to outer hips, compact those hips together. And keep that experience of the arms. So keep now extending the inner arms, outer elbows to shoulder sockets. Keep the legs and the arms. Inhale, exhale, come down. Back to the legs, press that back heel. Turn the front thigh up. Lift the outer knees to the outer hips. It's that action of lifting the outer knees to the outer hips, which for me allows the torso to really turn. My head just goes up there. You can either look forward or up, your choice. And then again, extending from the inner armpits out through the hands, outer elbows to the shoulders. The energy flows, it goes out, but it stays in the body. It doesn't leak. Then press into the back heel, pull yourself up and out. Parallel your feet, over to the other side, right foot and left leg out. Front heel in line with your back arch. Press the outer rim of the back heel. Turn this front thigh from the inside out. Lift your outer knees to outer hips. Compact those hips together. Get the arms. Extend the inner arms, outer elbows to shoulder. Maintain. Can you keep some awareness in your legs, some awareness in your arms? As you exhale, come down. Again, lengthening through the inner groins, but drawing those outer knees to the outer hips. Compacting those hips together. Lengthening through the inner arms, outer elbows to shoulders. Press the back heel, reach to that top arm, pull yourself up and out. But you should still have the experience coming up. The hips stay. Don't let them go. The arms, you're still extending those inner arms. Don't let them go. You're still in the pose. Parallel your feet. Jump or step your feet together. Now you're in a new pose. You're not between poses. So can you keep your hips compacted? Can you keep that experience of the arms in Tadasana? Too often we let go, come back, let go, come back. And you begin to maintain some of these actions. And often, you know, we work the shoulders in a class, or we'll work the hips in a class. And at some point we have to go after the body. The whole thing. Now for me, I'm going to use a block. We're doing Utthita Parshva Konasana, extended side angle pose. So I'm taking a block. You don't need it. You can also use a chair. If you want a higher lift, you use a chair. So you can take a block on either side, but you can also, if you take a book, and if you don't have anything, then I will show you what you can do. Fingertips up, bend your legs, jump or step your feet wide. Drop your shoulders, extend through your arms. So establish an understanding here. There's a lengthening, inner knees to the lower abdomen. A drawing of the outer knees to outer hips. By the way, those 6 points of the feet in this pose, balls of the big toes, center heels, outer foot bones, even. Oh, I have to adjust this hip again to make them even. How interesting. Svadhyaya, self-study. Extend the inner arms, outer elbows to shoulders. Now left foot in, right leg out. Front heel in line with your back arch. Now I totally lost my hips when I turned my legs, so I have to get that back. Outer knees to outer hips, but also just turn to the front thigh, press the back heel. Reach to the back arm especially, but both arms, extend through the inner arms, outer elbows to shoulders. Inhale, exhale, bend your leg. This is a 90-degree angle with your knee over your ankle, thigh parallel to the floor, so adjust accordingly. Now, if you don't have a block, you take your forearm on your thigh here. If you have a block or the chair, you take your hand on the block. And everyone, you just take your hand on your hip for a moment. We'll extend the arm up in a minute. This back thigh needs to go back, so you can press from the hip into the heel, but there's still the drawing of the outer knee to the outer hip. The energy goes both ways. Lengthen the groins on both legs. The flesh of both. So the back inner flesh goes back. The front inner flesh goes down and draw on the outer knees to the outer hips of both legs. Now push into the block to help rotate the torso a little bit more. Now extend the arm up. Rotate it so the palm faces your ear and extend overhead. Observe your pose. If you're grimacing, you're working too hard somewhere, work less. Find optimal for you. What instruction have I not given you that you need? Extend the groins, outer knees to outer hips. Extend the inner arms, outer elbows to shoulders. Optimally. Then reach through your arm, pull yourself up and out. Parallel your feet. Take your hands on your hips, just to take a breath. It's a very strong pose. But do bounce evenly on those 6 points in your feet. Do press your thighs back. Do lengthen the groins. Do draw the outer knees to the outer hips. And right foot in, left leg out. Now notice as you do this, for me, this back leg tends to fall forward as I do that. So I have to take that back thigh back. The front thigh turns out, the back thigh goes back. Lengthen the groins. Draw the outer knees to the outer hips. Do press that back heel. Now maintain that as you extend the arms. Extend the inner arms, outer elbows to shoulders. Now maintain all of that as you exhale, bend the front leg, that 90-degree angle. And then come down, either forearm on your thigh is fine, or you take the block next to your heel and take your top hand down onto your hip. Then adjust, keep that back thigh going back so you can press the back heel. Lengthen both groins. The flesh of both groins, even though they're in different directions, moving from the front of the leg to the back of the leg. That immediately helps turn my torso. Take your head back, don't tuck your chin. Push into the block now to help turn the torso a little bit more. Keep all of it, extend the arm up, rotate it, extend over your head, extend the inner groins, outer knees to outer hips, extend the inner arms, outer elbows to shoulders. The whole body. Press the back heel, reach that arm, pull yourself up and out. Parallel your feet. Jump or step your feet together, Tadasana. Check in. Feet together or hip distance, I'm less concerned about that, but I'm more concerned with you working the central part of your body, the hips, so that you can seek that pushing into those 6 points of your feet evenly, balls of the big toes, center heels, outer foot bones. I'm interested you in observing your experience. How is this Tadasana different than the last? All right, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. You're welcome to use the chair or the blocks as is needed for you. Mat's a little crooked, there we go. So I'm gonna start off on my hands and knees, press through the balls of the first finger and thumb, rotate the arms out. Now even here, there's that same extension from the inner armpit, extend out, press through the balls of the first finger and thumb. And from the outer elbow, draw up into that shoulder socket. So that shoulder bone is moving firmly into the shoulder socket. So it's a very similar experience that we're doing in the arms here. And even here, it's different because there's not a lot of work on the legs on your knees, but can you experience the lengthening of the groins, the flesh of the inner thighs moving back, and the outer knees to the outer hips, compacting the hips together. And then maintaining all that, turn your toes under, straighten your legs. Now get it again, lengthen the inner arms, outer elbows to shoulders. Now here you can really lengthen from the inner knees to the lower abdomen, flesh in the inner thighs. This time it's up towards the ceiling, still front of the leg to the back of the leg, outer knees to the outer hips. And then inhale, lengthen, exhale, come back into the pose. Downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. So thighs back, chest towards your thighs, sit bones towards the ceiling. Equal weight on each of your hands and each of your feet. From the inner armpits, lengthen out through the inner hand, ball of the first finger and thumb, draw your outer elbow to your shoulder bones. Lengthen from your inner knees, deep up into the body, take the flesh of the inner thighs back, draw from your outer knees to your outer hips, compact the hips. And you can have a semblance that the arms and legs are working equally, not exactly the same, they're different, but there's a similarity to it. And then look up, walk your feet forward. Just hold your elbows. Take your feet hip distance apart or wider. And just hold your elbows. If you prefer fingertips on the floor, yes, you can do that. Hips over your heels. Lengthen the inner groins, the flesh of the inner thighs going back, outer knees to the outer hips. Soften your face and hang here. Then we'll go back to downward facing dog. Let the arms go, hands on the floor. Bend your knees if you need to. Walk back. Get the arms, get the legs. Extend the inner arms from the inner armpit towards the floor. Press the ball of the first finger and thumb. Then from the outer elbow up towards the shoulder, moving the shoulder bone into the shoulder socket. And then the legs. Yes, press the thighs back. Can you lengthen the groins? Draw the outer knees to the outer hips and compact the outer hips together. Let the head go. And then walk your other foot forward first. Look up, walk your foot forward. Cross your forearms the opposite way you did last time. Hips over your heels, lengthen the groins, thighs still pressing back. Outer knees to outer hips. And even here, holding your elbows, or if you've chosen to put your fingertips on the floor, it's the same. Lengthen, inner armpit to inner elbow. Outer elbow to shoulders. And let your arms go, take your hands on your hips, extend your chest forward. Inhale, come up. And then feet together or hip distance apart. Tadasana. Check in with yourself. All right, go grab your chair. And have your chair so it's facing the front of the room. And just have a seat on your chair. Facing the side. So back of the chair, did I say seat of the chair? I'm sorry, back of the chair facing me and you're facing the side.
so that your side is facing the bar, the back bar of the chair. Balance evenly on the sit bones as best you can. Every chair is a little different. Some are flat, some are slanted. So we understand that. Knees in line with your hips, heels underneath your knees. Lift up through the side ribs. A little close to the wall here, so I won't really be able to extend my arms out, but arms forward, arms up. If you're not close to a wall, extend them out. If you're close to the wall, keep them up, and as you turn, you'll take them down. Inhale, maintain that lift and maintain that width. Exhale, take hold to the sides of the chair. Now use the breath to help you turn. Don't force the breath. Let the breath breathe you still. So let the inhalation come in. And as your breath exhales, pull with one hand, push with the other, and turn. Keep your chin in line with your sternum. Inhale, lifting. As you exhale, turn. Not to maximum. And take the elbows up and the shoulders down. So don't just drop your elbows by your side and let the shoulders come up. But take your elbows up to bring the shoulders down. And then this can be interesting too. Guess what happens with the arms? If you want, extend from your inner armpit to your inner elbows. Take the elbows away from each other. And draw from your outer elbows to your shoulders. Well, that gave me more turn. It broadened the top of the chest and the top of the back as well. What did it do for you? Optimal, not maximum. Please remember that. Now, don't lose the lift. You will unwind yourself. But please maintain the lift, maintain the width. Inhale, maintain. As you exhale, come to center. And then turn around on the chair. So, balance evenly, however it works on your chair, on the sit bones. Knees in line with your hips, heels underneath your knees. Keep these ribs in when you turn. When you take the arms up, just like in Urnabhastasana, there's a tendency to throw the ribs forward and to take the top of the buttocks up. You get that arch in the back. So keep the ribs in, top of the buttocks down as you take the arms. Get that length. Maintain that length. Get the width. Turn your hands out to the side. Take your arms down if there's no wall in your way. Inhale, maintain the lift and width. Exhale, take hold of the back of the chair. Chin is in line with sternum. Let the body turn, not just the head, not just from the ego. And then use the breath. Let the breath breathe you. As the breath inhales, lengthen even more. And as the breath exhales, turn. Pull with one hand, push with the other. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, turning. Elbows up. See, I had my elbows too low too, but I felt it in my shoulder. My shoulders were the cue that my elbows were dropping because I felt my shoulders rise. So elbows up, shoulders down. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, turning. Not to maximum, to optimal. Extend from your inner arms to your inner elbows. Draw from your outer elbows to your shoulders. I also notice when I do that my face softens even more. Even as much as I was trying to pay attention to it. Open those armpits, lengthen what sometimes we call the groin of the armpit. The face softens, at least my face softens. Maintain the lift, maintain the width. Inhale, maintain, exhale, come to center. Turn around to the first side. Square your knees, hips, heels. Arms forward, arms up, lengthen. Maintain the length. Arms out to the sides if you have space. Maintain the lift, maintain the width. Inhale, exhale, take hold of the sides of the chair. Now this time, I want you to look over the opposite shoulder that you're twisting. So twist, especially online, the mirror and I get very confused. So I am physically not mirroring, turning to the right. I'm looking over my left shoulder. So whichever way you are turning, look over the opposite shoulder. Elbows up, shoulders down. Inhale, lifting. Maintain the length. On your exhalation, turn. Not at the pace of my speech, but at the pace of your breath. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, turn. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, turn. Elbows up, shoulders down. Extend the inner arms, inner armpit to inner elbow, outer elbow, drawing back to the shoulder. Now we're going to turn the head. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, turn the head to gaze over the shoulder that you're turning to. So in my case, that is the right shoulder. Shoulder down, elbow up. Maintain the lift, maintain the width. Inhale. Maintain the lift, maintain the lift. Exhale, come to center. Let the breath breathe you. Right, when you twist, you're squeezing the oxygen out of the center area, out of the organ. So as you untwist, the blood with oxygen all comes back in. Let it rush in. And then turn around. Arms forward, arms up, get the length. Make sure you square your knees, heels, hips. Lengthen up. Inhale. Exhale. Get the width if you have space for that wall. Inhale. Exhale. Take hold of the chair. So chin is gazing over the opposite shoulder, not the way you're turning. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, turn. Right? We do want the neck to be able to turn, but the spine itself, the torso part of the spine will turn more if you look in the opposite direction. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, turn. Elbows up, shoulders down. And at the very end, we can turn the vertebrae of the neck. Inhale, lifting, exhale, turning. Extend the inner armpits, inner armpit, inner arms, inner armpits to inner elbows, outer elbows drawing back to the shoulders. Inhale, lifting, exhale, turning. And don't rush to turn the head, turn the body. The head can be very last. Inhale, lifting, exhale, turning. Optimally, not maximum. So if you're at your maximum, pull back a little bit. And then see what happens. And then inhale, exhale. Now turn your head towards the same direction shoulder. Inhale, maintain the lift, maintain the width. Exhale, maintain the lift, maintain the width. And just for fun, arms forward, arms up. Urdhva Hastasana while you're sitting. Lengthen the groins, outer knees to outer hips. Lengthen the inner arms, outer elbows to shoulders. And then turn your hands out to the side, or if you have a wall, just take them down in front of you. Whoa, is that time already? Who knew? All right, come on up. Let's move the chair. All right, well, in that case, let's lie back. Take a blanket for your head if that's comfortable. For most of us, this flat blanket is best, but some of us will need a folded blanket for ease in the neck. Just lie back for a moment. The blanket comes to touch your shoulders and support the seventh cervical, but not so far that it's really underneath the shoulders. It's underneath the part of the shoulder that's not touching the floor. Just bend your legs into your chest. Give yourself a little hug here, draw your thighs down. It really helps here when you do this to lengthen those inner groins from the inner knee back towards the abdomen and to move the flesh of the inner thighs from the front of the leg to the back of the leg. And let's ease the lower back. We haven't done much with the lower back today, but let's just ease it. Take hold around just your right shin only. You can also be behind the knee for those that's easier. Take your left foot on the floor. Drag your left heel as you straighten your left leg. The thigh turns in. So left leg straight, thigh turned in. Right thigh towards your torso. Lengthen the groins. Draw the outer knees to the outer hips. Soften your shoulders, your face, your throat. Let your breath guide you. You don't need to control the breath. I'm not saying take a deep breath. Let the breath guide you. On your exhalation, bend your left leg back next to your right leg. Lengthen the groins, flesh of the inner thighs moving from the front of the leg to the back of the leg. And then holding around your left shin only. If you're interlacing your fingers, change the interlace. Take your right foot on the floor. Drag your right heel as you draw the left thigh into your torso. Keep that right thigh turned in. Lengthen the groins. Send the groins, outer knees to outer hips. And you also do want to take that left outer hip away from your shoulders so the two sides of your torso are equal in length. Don't have that action grip the groin. Soften your shoulders. Let the breath be your guide. On your exhalation, bend your leg into your chest, legs together now. Give yourself a hug. Say something kind to yourself. Say something loving to yourself. Give yourself a hug and say something kind and loving to yourself. Acknowledge the beauty in you. Acknowledge the love inside of you. Acknowledge the true splendor. As it says in the Yoga Sutras, bathe in your own true splendor. On your inhalation, take your feet to the floor. Scoop the flesh of your buttocks towards your heels. Straighten your legs one at a time. Let your legs fall away from each other. Of course, if you need something underneath your knees, take it. If you want your feet raised on the chair, take it. And then take your arms comfortably out to the side so there's space in your armpits and let go. Let go here. Let your body surrender to the Mother Earth below you. Can you give up the need for control? The wanting to be somewhere, to get somewhere? And can you surrender to what is right now? Notice the thoughts. And with kindness, with compassion, gently shift the aim of your awareness back to the breath. Just the breath. Nothing but the breath. Shavasana. Deepen the inhalation. Lengthen the exhalation. Move your toes, move your nose. Bend your legs, place your feet on the floor with your knees together, feet apart. Place your hands onto the abdomen or onto the chest. And let the healing energy of your hands penetrate your body, pierce through your layers, and heal. Whatever it is you may need healing with today. When you feel ready, extend your right arm past your right ear, roll to the right side. If the left side is easier, certainly roll to the left. Place your hand on the floor in front of you. Turn your torso towards the floor first. Push yourself up, come up chest first, head last. Come up to sitting comfortably. Bring your palms together, thumbs at your chest, touching your palms evenly, left to right, right to left. Softening the groins, softening the inner arms. Taking a moment to observe your practice. What's different? What's changed? Physically, emotionally. What's changed in the breath? Take this practice with you through the rest of your day with kindness and with compassion. Kindness and compassion for others. Kindness and compassion for yourself. Practice kindness as if it's the most important thing in the world. Because it is. Let's close our practice together by chanting one collective Om. Deep inhalation. Gently let your eyes open. Big smile. Namaste. Bow to the divine within you. Thank you, everybody. I can't unmute you anymore. I don't know how to do that in the new Zoom. But if you want to unmute yourself, you're welcome to. If you have questions, let me know.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. You're so welcome.
Happy to see the studio again with the pink color, no
Yeah.
yellow color.
It's white. White. We painted it white.
Oh, look like pink, Jonathan.
Nah, it's the bad camera on the laptop.
Okay.
Say that again, Gay.
Mateo, he was missed.
I couldn't hear you, Gay.
El Mateo, he was missed.
Oh, thank you. I will tell him. Thank you so much. Yes, I will tell him. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Any questions? All right. We'll see you guys next time then. Love you guys. Mwah. Bye.